One, we await your orders. You need but to ask it of us, and it shall be done.
The most enjoyable thing now might be taking over the world.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Stoneface Reactions. I'm Griffin, the one with his hands up surrendering is Theta, and we're here to watch some Overlord today.
Now I need to cut you saying that over top of your previous waving.
There you go. Alright, so, happening today on Overlord, though, we got Lizardmen Gathering. Yeah, that sounds about right. We ended last episode with a duel about to happen between our cool protagonist, a lizard, and of course, the threatening bulky lizard, and they're probably just gonna become friends.
I want to say
Then they all die.
that this is going to be a hard tangent for you, Griff, and I know you're not used to tangents with me. So,
Yeah, not at all, no.
I want to say that our main character, Lizard, is problematic.
Oh, are they?
I think he embodies everything that's wrong with the masculine culture today, specifically vis-a-vis, God, I don't know how to phrase this, male-women relationships. Did you watch the video of the one guy who chased down a girl to try and sing a song at him, and then when she drove away, he called the cops?
I haven't seen that, though I have seen the aggressive trumpeter meme.
Well, this isn't a meme. Like, this is a real problem. Because,
Right.
like, she called her dad because she was afraid because this guy is chasing her down, wanted to sing a song. And he's blaming, like, oh, the lesbians got to her because otherwise she would be into me. And, like, the dad...
Every single excuse.
Yeah, no, because the dad calls him and threatens him with violence if you don't leave my daughter alone. So he calls the police to tell them everything that's happened. And he tells the cops, right? The cops are telling him, maybe she doesn't want to be chased. This is crazy what you're doing. And he's like, no, women like to be chased. Don't you see, like, on porn videos where they have rape fantasies? Right?
Yes, where I get all of my socialization from porn videos.
Well, again, he is like the Twitter tip of the iceberg of people that are doing this, but aren't, like, stupid to that degree to, like, call the cops and think they're so right that he can record
They're
himself.
slightly less entitled.
Well, because this is all from his recording. He thought he was so right that even after the cops told him how crazy he was being, he's like, no, the internet will see my way. Anyway, this guy, this lizard guy, enters a room with a woman, howls about how turned on he is by her, and starts grabbing her. Right?
Right.
And just expects that's the way it should be. Now, someone might point out this is a fantasy show, and maybe Lizard Society is that way. But nobody else acts that way. This guy just does these things, and he's cool with it, and we're like, he's the main character lizard. Maybe this is what we should look for in male lizard characters. Right? So I think he's, like, problematic in that way. In that he's like, what is there a word for exemplifying things that a hero should be? Like a one word.
I guess just heroic. Heroicism.
Anyway, he is doing that. In that, hey, look, he's well-knowledged, he's traveled, he's the outsider perspective, he should be the chief because he's so good at everything.
He's the one making friends with everyone, he's leading the charge, yeah.
But look at how he treats women. So I'd say, in that aspect, he's like all your tropes of masculine heroes, but then is this one other way in which toxic masculinity begets misogyny.
Right, just remember everyone at home, if you want to be a lizard, don't be like him. But I guess, it really does wrap up overall into the way the series treats women, which also tends to be very similar, as we've noted, and is also the way a lot of anime ends up treating women.
I don't know.
The least obvious sin is straight up sidelining them in favor of male characters constantly.
Well, see, I don't know, because there's only, I'm going to say 5 female characters in the show. 6, 7, 7, 8, 8.
There's a lot of characters in the show
Well, no,
overall.
I'm not trying. Sorry,
But yeah.
I didn't finish the sentence. There's
Go
only
ahead.
like 8 female characters. Sorry, I got something in my eye all of a sudden. 8 female characters in the show that have a characterization that can put them anywhere on the. God, I always want to say the word and I can't remember it. It's a guy's name. Ironically, the Benkel.
Yeah, the Beckham test, where
It's
you
not-
have two female characters who talk to each other and they do not talk about another guy.
Right.
Or
There's
they don't talk about sex. They don't do anything from a male gaze perspective.
Right, which is the point. The how do these women act in the male gaze perspective thing. We have 8 characters in the show that I can think of right now that awkwardly fill into that area. Obviously, Albedo is a weird exception, I feel like, because she's been messed with. She is what we would call to the test, an unreliable narrator, because she can't change herself. Now, what's the Lampire's name again?
I do not remember.
She's the vampire. She's actually a Lampire.
Oh gosh, that's on the tip of my tongue now.
Now, she is an independent.
Shaltier.
Shaltier is independent. She could do anything, but obviously she fails the test because she's written in such a way as to only be obsessed. Like, she has no other goals. She has no aspirations other than this thing. Do you remember the princess?
Yes.
Right. Now, she has motivations. She is also completely obsessed with one boy, but I think she still passes the test because she's like dominatrix obsessed with him. Like,
she can talk about other things.
well, yeah, because she has political motivations. She's control of conversations. She is orchestrating events. Like, her boy toy thing, she's in charge of him. So if she decides to talk about him, that's her choice. She's doing it of her own volition.
It's not the all-end all of her personality. It is one weird feature of it instead.
Yeah, she has an obsession, but the obsession doesn't define her. It does actually define her. She is regarded by everybody else as a weird monster, but she's an odd thing. We have 2 adventurers, which I don't know if you know or not, so I'm going to be super vague about it. I think you know one of them. Another one is like if Arnold Schwarzenegger was a woman. And I don't know if she got introduced in a season they've seen before. But
it doesn't ring a bell immediately, but it sounds amazing. We should get there.
That's a 50-50 because one of them would fail completely because she's all obsessed about a person. Whereas the woman has motivations, goals, desires of her own. Sorry. The Arnold Schwarzenegger type woman.
Yeah.
Has motivations, desires, everything of her own. So the show is very split down the middle. We have characters that are either forced to be obsessed with their male counterparts or just are and have very little motivation to do anything else. Or we have characters who just aren't tied to any male characters and are thus, devoted to whatever the fuck their story is before. But then we have male characters like this guy who are just the wrong thing.
Right. Like if we were to compare to Ainz, while clearly as a ordinary person, he probably embodied at least some amount of this toxic masculinity, but also is a loser who doesn't care all that much. At least as Ainz, he isn't constantly out to objectify everyone, and is kind of very conscious that after the choice he made to do so, that it's wrong and taking advantage of it would be wrong. He at least has some saving grace in him. Meanwhile, we just have Lizard who's like, we're banging.
Ainz is a odd example, specifically because he doesn't actually have a saving grace. He did the manipulation before he got into the video game, or before he got into the world that Overlord takes place in. He was still a guy playing a video game when he did that.
Yeah.
When he joins...
He did the casual toxic masculinity thing.
Yep. But you said a saving grace. I'm saying there is none, because the moment the world turns real, this thing that we've talked about plenty of times, but I don't think we've ever actually agreed on or not.
Fair enough.
He has the undead class feature put upon him, where he can't feel emotions or care about things, because he'll have like an outburst of emotion, then the green hue goes over him, instantly he's calm again. Yeah. So it's not any aspect of him that has changed. He is still the same person that thought it would be funny to make a woman be obsessed and in love with him. But
that's true.
He no longer has the emotional control over it anymore.
Right. To not just talk about the text, though, it could very easily have been written that, well, even though he's undead, he still's going to make boner jokes all the time. That could have been very easily written in there.
Right.
So that it's not is at least means that I can watch the show, right?
I think that's a false comparison.
It probably is, but I mean...
It very much is, because when he was human, he wasn't making boner jokes. So why would he just start making boner jokes?
It's my quick way of trying to put that mood out. He could easily have been written worse. To be a worse person, regardless of other aspects.
I mean, I think your argument is he could have been obviously worse, because the Ainz that we have is subtly bad. Because not many people carry out the argument of what he did to Albedo was horrible past like the first episode, because then you become engrossed in the world, you start moving on, and you just, like most evils, forget about it because it becomes part of the world. But it constantly exists every time we come back to Nazarick, and Albedo is in a bed, snuggling a body pillow, or kneeling in front of his door waiting for him. That this is not who Albedo was before Ainz showed up. That this is who Albedo is because of Ainz. I mean, it wouldn't be a huge step to say that Albedo is currently a mental slave to Ainz.
They all kind of are, though at the same time they also continuously reaffirm loyalty in the face that they easily could choose to not be, because there isn't an actual compulsion. So it's a weird scenario that's been engineered, I
would argue that zealotry is different from mental programming. I mean, you could argue that that's a line that certain ideological groups will perform mental programming as a way of inciting zealotry in their followers. But it's different from being, I mean, we can use the word programming, because literally Albedo has been mentally programmed by Ainz, versus, say, Demiurge, which is just a zealot to Ainz. Demiurge didn't have his personality programmed to be a zealot. He just is a zealot because Ainz is part of the group that created him.
Right. There's a lot of things getting on, and it's hard to say anything other than, well, that's what the writer wrote, so it's his fault.
Right. Well, I mean, the point being is it's indicative. Let's go ahead and
wrap it all back around.
What, that the lizard is problematic?
Now we're going to be watching more lizards.
I would say that the lizard is more problematic than Ainz. I reversed that sentiment, actually, the moment I said it. I don't know. Is physical misogyny worse than mental programming? One eliminates free will, while the other is physical. I mean, I don't know how much more to state. The
philosophical way to put it then would be, you don't measure evils against evil. They're all bad.
No, you do. You can measure evils against evil. I believe the legal code is set up to do that. And specifically, we punish people for different levels of evil.
Uh, right. But I'm saying there's maybe not a lot of value in trying to compare that. What we see is two bad things, and we need to acknowledge, well, both of these things are things that probably should not be happening if someone was trying to be their best person. Which not everyone in the series is. 100%.
I mean, my final thoughts on this, since I know you're trying to wrap this up, so we
yeah.
actually watch a video today. My final thoughts on this are, there is a value to measuring evils against one another. I also think that's what the moral value of the penal system was supposed to be about before it became a privatized system for money. Because we don't want people in jail forever. We want them to be educated on what they did wrong and sent back out to be productive members of society. I can't remember the R word that I'm trying desperately to remember. Not recuperation. Rehabilitation. You want to rehabilitate, and different levels of evil require different levels of rehabilitation. And that is the value in that knowledge versus just saying that everyone is the same. You wouldn't put Jeffrey Dahmer in the same program as you would Charles Manson.
Right. In which case, I think that's probably the good note to go ahead and end off on, and let's go ahead and start the Lizard Rehabilitation Program.
Good note to end off on. All right, everyone. I've been Theta. That's Griffin. We'll see you next time.
For 20 minutes of us just talking. We'll see you next
Wouldn't
time.
that be the rug pull, way?
There is no episode.
I just put a false timestamp on the chapter here that the video starts, and that's the start of Evils, of the misogynist lizard argument. What you tuned in for, right? The unexpected. I don't know that anybody else, in anyone other reaction, has made the misogynist lizard argument. Started here.
They'll be the first.
Started here.
You're trendsetters.
Years after the introduction of Overlord Season 2. Here's this guy, and here's 10 reasons you should hate him. Reason 1, misogynist. Reason 2, why did he have a tattoo of a backwards question mark on his chest?
Yeah, what's up with Lizard Riddler?
Whose teeth is he wearing around his neck?
Let's go ahead and watch then. Let's see what Lizard Riddler is up to. There you go, all you have to do is kill him.
We gotta remember, this is the tribe comprised up of people that were eliminated in the last fights. So it's like all of their enemies combined into one tribe.
He's the best of the worst fighters.
Not wrong. And look at the way they treat their women.
She's not mine.
Not how you acted in the tent when you were alone.
I do like the plant monster joke still. Ah, there you go. It's just endemic to Lizard's culture. We got it here.
I don't think you can base entirely of lizard culture on two random lizards. That's racist, Griff. You're being a racist right now. I believe that's the right term, unless it's speciest. But I believe since they're sentient lizards, it is racist. It's a race of lizards.
I can't remember. Will he show off the sword having any special abilities in this fight?
Oh, since we're here in the middle of a fight scene, I have a question for you, Griff.
What's up?
Say we meet aliens, right? And those aliens are made up of a bunch of different subsets of each other. Mm-hmm. Now, say you said something negative about a whole subset of those aliens. Is that racist or speciest?
That would end up being racist.
Because
you had the same thing going on here, right?
Right, but I think the term as it stands specifically is for a human. Not against another human. I think we're going to get a new word for being racist against a different species, subset of race.
If nothing else, we're really good at inventing new words. Oh, he's not gonna show the special abilities. Oh, now I'm disappointed.
I
I like
feel
that
like
this guy's like, I've already lost to it before, sure.
I feel like his body type is one where they drew the scales, like the underscale coloring, as the color of a normal buff jacked human body, and then drew the green scales outwards. Like we're just gonna add this much layer.
That is an amazing design choice. Like to choose, or to have a species that looks buffer than it is because its scales are arranged to look like they're buff, and then they're just a bunch of wimps. That'd be amazing.
Well, I didn't say the wimp thing. It just looks like
I know
the underscale color.
Yeah, it looks drawn on and fake. Yeah.
No, that's not what I meant.
With that,
I meant like the artist drawing this. I'm just gonna draw a real buff human, and then I'm gonna draw another line outside of that for all the scales and shit. So it looks like a buff human wearing a suit for a lizard. They made him a lizard by drawing a second human on top of the first human.
you're honestly probably not entirely off base. If there's like a character art sheet out there, there's probably a bunch of different iterations where, yeah, they probably started with one of their buff humans and then said, well, what if we made it like this? What if we did this? And then just settled on that guy, but a lizard.
Oh, also
That's kind of how character design happens.
So I'm going to take it a step back real quick. To the 30-minute discussion most of you skipped. You might be confused. You might be confused that I only mentioned 6 people. I was thinking of 2 of the maids. They got a lot of screen time as well. That made up my 8. Well, because I mentioned 6. And I said 8 before. 2 of the maids were the 8.
I didn't say it before, but I would probably say the maids just don't even count because they just don't do a whole lot.
There's 2 maids. The one that goes with Ainz when he goes in the warrior form.
Mm-hmm.
She has a lot of characterization outside of everything else.
Yeah.
And there's that one maid that stays in that village that has the alchemist and that girl with all the goblins.
Mm-hmm.
She also gets a lot of screen time in her own characterization outside of the maids that stay at Nazareth.
There you go. The exceptions to it all.
Right. So those are the 8.
Only using a cure moderate. Ugh.
Well, they're low level, so they've got a low amount of hit points. Using a higher level spell would be a waste of mana.
He did use the special ability. 1d6 cold damage.
You know, if the sun is really bothering her, there's more of her exposed to it than not.
I guess the bush is shading most of it.
Not really, most of it's out behind her.
Fight's over, time to drink. I don't get it, I'm also drinking.
I wonder if there is an anime astrologer that will take various scenes of the sky in different anime and compare them against themselves. You know, like do the constellations match up in this scene from episode 1 to this other scene in episode 6?
I think you mean astronomer.
No, I meant to say if they were Libras or Aquarians. I'm not wrong. But you know what I meant. Like,
Right.
Is the artist consistent about the sky, or all these, like, white flecks that they just threw out at random?
Oh yeah, there's definitely 2 situations. Either they have a default sky background and they'll just throw that up when they need it, or 2, yeah, it will just be random.
It just occurs
Unless
to me.
it is a plot point or an interesting thing they want to have there specifically.
What I'm saying is I'm interested to see if there's a astronomer whose interests overlapped with anime enough that they did some sort of comparison before.
I think it'd be better for us to surrender to the evil.
Or we put a nuke in the middle of our city and see if the Gundams arrive if we threaten force.
Oh, we're back to the terrorism.
Look, all I'm saying is if I send like 10 soccer hoodlums into your city to attack your military base, will the Gundams arrive?
What if we send 10 lizard warriors?
I know we're never going to get it into our thing, but Isekai Quartet is kind of like... Are you aware of Isekai Quartet?
I'm aware of it.
Right. And just, Overlord's a part of it. But I would like to see that with other random anime. Not, maybe...
Just do the random kooky crossover, yeah.
Well, sort of like the way that they advertised... God, I can't remember what they were advertising. But they had Lum, and whatever the main male character is from that anime, Inuyasha, Ranma 1/2, characters from that, Kagome obviously, all together in one like animated advertisement for like a anniversary or something that they were having, because all those characters are owned by the same company.
You remember the era of anime where every antagonist or protagonist was just super smart and came up with just completely random Zanato's Gambit style plans where they win no matter what. I want every protagonist from that into an Isekai Quartet kind of scenario where they just outthink each other into complete failure. Everyone loses every episode.
There's a YouTube channel I'm gonna advertise now. I think it's Caleb City or it's something like that. If you look up Caleb in anime, you'll probably find it. Where he does those kind of things where it's like your super-brained protagonist encounters your Xanatos enemy, and it's always like turns into like basically a Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Right. You can't do that because I knew you were gonna do that, so well, of course I already did that, because I could do this. I did this because
I
I did
already
that.
thought that you might do that.
But of course Caleb does like
Did you
comedy.
plan for the elite units?
But Caleb does comedy shit, so his stuff ends with the good guy winning, because it's like, you've been talking to a phone this whole time. I'm actually in your house. And it switches like, he's like in the room, outside of the room. How'd you get here? Oh yeah, well I've just been in a room with my face painted on it this whole time.
All of this planning is not going to matter in the slightest. It is immediately going to crumble.
Of course, because we're waiting for the moment where Kakaida shows up.
Right. It's like, I think even if we didn't have the foreknowledge, we'd have to be still looking at this with completely new and fresh eyes and going, they're not going to win. Right?
Best girl. I am horribly repulsed by insects, but she's still best girl.
That's how you know they're the best.
Yeah, she eats her victims. Her voice is literally the vocal cords of somebody she ate. It's her personality, actually. She has an adorable personality, like how sad she gets when somebody eventually actually rips her vocal cords out. Or the mask that I think Heinz made for her gets destroyed.
Right.
Because underneath the horrible, horrible exterior of being a bug monster, she is still an adorable girl.
It's the level 1 skeletons, look out everyone. They're CR1 quarter. And we're CR1 half, so we can take like 2 of them. This is their high point, their triumph. They've never been stronger, and they will be instantly demolished.
I already said it last time, my favorite of them is like one of the first 2 to get killed.
Let's go ahead and point out exactly when they get killed.
That'll be easy enough. Well, it might actually be hard, because I think he gets killed at the same time as another one.
Yeah, CGI. Oh, there's zombies too.
Yeah, the slow-moving ones are the zombies. The faster ones are the skeletons. It's true to form.
Immediately, brink ranks become a brawl.
It's funny that lizard men are familiar with cavalry tactics. Given that we've seen no, like, things that they write.
I guess they've encountered other people using it against them before.
Right, because that's where I want to bring my mounted cavalry into the swamp. You literally know that they have a commander. The voice announced that the commander was talking to you.
I can't believe you guys are going to lose to a 3rd level spell.
What are you talking about? The most powerful
Brady's
wizards.
dead.
The most powerful wizards in the world only use 3rd level spells.
Zombie wolves. Zombie pigs.
It's that guy from Princess Mononoke.
What are they summoning? It's slimes. Or elementals, I guess. Oh, this is actually a suddenly important detail. People can work together for bigger spells. I don't think they demonstrated that before.
I mean, we know it's true later on in
Oh
the
my gosh,
series.
stop flirting on the battlefield.
I mean, we know it's true later in the series. I guess this is the first time it's shown. My best guess is that she's a centipede.
I think it's very centipede traits too. I would agree.
So I think she's probably like folded up on herself to make like a form of a human. "30-minute conversation about misogyny, 10 minutes of look how adorable that girl is."
Look how adorable that nerd is, being all smart with his glasses shading his eyes. There we go, there we go, we've inverted now.
But we failed the Bechtel test. Bechtel, that's the name of the test.
Two guys talk about another guy.
I'm hesitant to name what that would be, because I think that would be against the LGBT community.
I think he just got a system message.
No. There's no system to message him.
There was like a double beat.
So what is now Griffin for the rest of the series going to be listening for Morse code that the system might have been sending messages the whole time?
Well, something interrupted Demiurge.
Most of the time, anything that can interrupt Demiurge is Demiurge.
So what? He just like pulled off the like I'm going through a tunnel trick. It's like, oh, I'm breaking up. Oh no, we gotta stop the message spell.
Well, you remember Demiurge's power is his voice. So
Yeah.
literally, all he has to do is tell somebody to do something and they do it. Which means, how are you gonna stop him in a call where all you have is his voice?
Here we go. The mini boss that means absolutely nothing comes out of nowhere and will get dunked on after he destroys everyone.
I mean, he just exists to show that Heinz is raised dead, risen dead, that some of them are intelligent, that they're not just like an army of mindless creatures.
Right, right.
Interesting to know that the fantasy world runs on meters. It means only 2 places in the universe still don't work off of the metric system.
The entire multiverse has adjusted except for the United States.
Imagine being an American player of this game and being stuck in it. And you find out that the fantasy world is still using the metric system. and having to
Oh,
try
it's
and
like 15 Celsius outside. It's like, alright, but how cold is that?
trying to tell people, oh, that's about 5 miles away. What's a mile? Literally, nobody in the world has ever heard of a mile before.
That doesn't come up a whole lot in Isekai, does it?
What, different
The
systems of
fantasy
measure?
world doesn't have its own fantasy measurements and stuff. Which, to be fair, wouldn't be the best writing in most circumstances to do. But it's still funny as an observation.
Well, no, usually they do have their own. A lot of fantasy anime have their own stuff. It tends to just be one-to-one with a different name to the metric system. Is it weird that thunderbolts are named after the sound and not the lightning itself?
Oh yeah, that's always been a little bit.
I was like, take my thunderbolts and then cast lightning. So
Hey, you got a skill.
thunderbolts are force, right? Because it's the sound, it's the force of a loud sound. Whereas lightning is electrical. So take my loud sound, electricity. Is the hardest offer to get somebody to agree to
Yeah.
is that I will kill you quickly, versus if you don't agree, I will kill you a long time with agony. Because
No one ever takes the offer. They will not.
because yeah, you always think you can fight your way out of it or something.
It would be better to die not trying to resist them than to die giving them what they want.
I mean, ultimately, it would be better to die quickly, but
I'm just using the Andor line at this point.
you would never take that as the ultimate end to whatever situation you're in. I mean, you gotta be super defeatist to recognize that, yeah, no, whatever, I'd rather die quickly. I would love an anime scene of that, by the way. Of a character who gets that offer and considers their entire life. Like, what's my best option here? Is that I could live the rest of my life, die of old age, which is always going to be a painful process, drawn out by the agony of my loved ones not wanting me to die. Versus here, a short, painless death, which I'm not guaranteed for the rest of my life.
You're probably looking at a whole lot of nihilistic Final Fantasy villains for that.
It would literally have to be an entire episode, like the last episode, Evangelion. Like,
Congratulations.
an introspection into the possibilities of your entire life versus one bad guy's offer, which may in fact be the easiest out you've ever been given. Are all your future wins, all your future loves, all your future successes worth the pain of a long drawn-out death? Or is it worth it better just to die now painlessly?
This would probably work better in a story about someone who's fated for X and they're trying to escape it.
Sure, that one Rick and Morty episode.
There you go. Rick and Morty's done it. We did everybody.
Well, you know, the one where the
I'll
gem...
accept my check in the mail. Thank you.
That one gem where you see the future and Morty is constantly just trying to get it to...
Yeah, trying to tune into it. It's like, I think that's good. Yeah.
Literally, I've had that thought before. How do you possibly say the right thing for the future to turn out the way? And there's Morty's trying to enunciate every word.
This is still a fun triumphant scene. This is still some good action overall, I think. Even though it doesn't amount to anything compared to everything else, as the whole Lizard story wrapping up, this was still fun. This was still fun to watch.
Ultimately, still waiting for Kakadas to show up. And then, after that, the big opening where Ainz takes the field. You know, with the giant rock throne and all that. That's what I'm really waiting for. which didn't happen this
And then
episode,
it
though.
is. Ah.
I also appreciate, to the detriment of anyone watching this, that we talked the whole episode. Which means there's going to be 1.5 minutes of the video, and the rest of it's going to be this big. And most of that, not talking about anything in the video.
Mm-hmm. So, let's talk about Cocytus a little bit then, while we... Cocytus.
I mean, if you want to let him go cute, that's your business. But for me, he's still Cocytus.
Okay. So, I think something that, while we were talking, was shown on screen that we read is, was he supposed to win with this army? And the answer is probably not. I have a feeling that this might be Ainz either testing to see if he is enough of a tactician leader that he can just do it on his own, or this is a practice session to get him more comfortable into trying to win these scenarios so that he can do it in the future.
Well, no, that's the entire point, is that he knows that he's not supposed to win, but at the same time is figuring out if he's not supposed to win. He's unsure. He's unsure, but at the same time, he's been commanded to win, but knows that he's not supposed to.
Right, yeah. They celebrated their victory until the raid boss showed up.
Yeah, that's the scene I'm waiting for. Anytime I've ever played a necromancer in the tabletop games, it's always I point out to that scene, this is what I want. No one ever gives it to me. That's
A lot of tabletop games are literally not made to give it to you for a lot of reasons.
I played Pathfinder as a necromancer with a very large army, but I specifically made a character who had a large bucket full of, the amount of control I could give. Still couldn't get that.
Yeah. But you are absolutely right that the next episode is going to have the standout "this is Ainz" scene for the season, I think. Or at least for this first arc. I can't remember if there's anything greater in the second arc yet, but this is the big standout one. He's as flashy as possible, he's doing what he means to do, and this is how he would present himself entirely to the rest of the world now. As it's impossible to defeat Conqueror.
I mean, it's the scene that stands out to me across 3 different seasons as the best scene. So, I mean, I know there's a 4th season. I know there's a 4th season. We haven't gotten there yet.
Almost there.
Just, almost halfway.
Few years.
I mean, it's not a few years. We do this weekly.
I know.
Let's see. There's 12 episodes in a season, right? What episode are we on right now?
3.
3. So we have 8 more this season. So 20 episodes, 20 weeks. 20 weeks until we reach season 4.
Yeah, well, half a year. Literally, we'll be doing this next year.
Well, literally be doing this next year. We're a couple of days away from December. It's not like you said this in the middle of April.
You caught my joke. But yeah, I'm excited for what's going to happen next episode because that's the anti-climax of it, right? This was the ordinary climax. The lizards fought, they won, we have the high point. This would be an ordinary end to a story. And then next episode, Ainz comes in, undercuts everything, and goes, no, I'm actually winning.
Well, I mean, if you're calling this a climax, and this thing has 3 climaxes. We have this climax, we have Cocytus' climax, and then we have Ainz' negotiation climax.
Right. So, I think there's a lot of good stuff to look forward to here. So the Lizardmen, I think as we discussed, appear here in this arc, and then we don't get to see them used again for a long while.
They come back around in season 3, but as a very minor role.
Mm-hmm. Given that they did basically just destroy an entire lizard army, there might not be a lot of lizards left.
No, there's a lot left.
Okay.
Not all of them are fighting on the front, remember? And then some of them are back in the village to defend them in case they fail out here.
There you go. So, Theta, is there anything about the episode that specifically struck you that you want to talk about?
I was gonna have a joke ready, but I realized in the hour that we've been recording that I've already gone from misogyny to racism, so I really didn't have any,
The traditional Theta arc?
I didn't have any real shocking things to make an argument about left, so I really can't think of anything else.
There you go then. Theta has been worded out for today. So I think we'll go ahead and end it right there. This has been Stone Face Reactions. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we will catch you next time. See you, everybody. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone Face Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?